for me, marketing is very important. Like,
Yes,
if people
agreed.
don't know your film, there's no fucking
Right.
point. Like,
Yes,
sorry,
agreed.
but they don't
Yep.
know. There's no point at all, because at the end of the day, you want to sell your stuff to an audience and build an audience so that when you do your third or your fourth or whatever, you have an audience to kind of follow you, follow your journey.
Totally.
And everybody that offered us something, or offered me something, could not give an answer for marketing.
We are the
Get Reelisms Podcast.
I am Adam Chase Rennie.
And I am Christine Chen. And surprise, we're both filmmakers.
We get into it by sharing secrets, advice, and gossip in filmmaking.
And we even get our other filmmaking friends to share theirs too.
So please, everybody, join us for an
ode to filmmaking.
We are ready to go for kickoff.
So we are back again for another episode of the Get Reelisms Podcast, episode 155. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Adam Chase Rennie.
And I am Christine Chen, and we have a surprise return guest today. Andre, will you introduce yourself? Which podcast was Andre on before, by the way? Do you remember?
Oh, this was like was it a year ago?
I think it's like 2 years.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh,
yeah, it was 2 years
in this
ago.
house before, so it's a different house.
Yeah, it was
so.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Well, you look great, Andre.
Quick,
You look fantastic.
Cheers,
you made a feature in that time. Because I don't think have you started on this feature before, like on the show? I don't think you have. I think you were just about to shoot the feature, maybe.
I can't. I'm trying to think now. I mean, we filmed it last summertime, so
I can tell you when it was released. So,
okay.
It was season 4, episode 105. So we've done 50 episodes since Andre's other episode, basically. And this is when it was actually, but this was when it was released. So it could have been even earlier than that. It was released on July 16th, 2023. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Cool,
yeah, so there's a lot to catch up
time.
on.
Exactly. And you guys are awesome as well. So I don't need to keep you guys in contact and
likewise.
Say hello
man.
every once in a while, like every year.
Yeah. You got to do a yearly check-in because we can't lose time like this anymore. So how you been, Andre? How's everything going?
Good. Everything's good. Just filmmaking, hustling, trying to stay sane with creativity, as I think all filmmakers kind of are, lots of stuff. I'm quite blessed. Like at the moment, lots of stuff is kind of happening, so it's very cool. But
how is the industry affected for you guys in the UK because of our strike issues here in the States? Has it really affected you guys much?
I think a little bit for like big budget productions, 110%. For smaller stuff and micro and low budget, not so much. I don't think it really affected anybody. But there definitely there was like a gap, kind of like when COVID kind of happened, and then nothing was going on, and you had all these indie filmmakers kind of doing stuff that kind of rose up to be on the top 3 of Netflix or whatever, or top 2 of Netflix or top 1. At the moment, it's kind of it was a bit like that. Now it's kind of going back to normal, but before it was a bit like, okay, cool. All these I don't want to say shitty, but all of these independent movies that aren't very good are kind of like number 1, 2, 3, 4 on Netflix or whatever.
I mean, we can be honest.
It didn't affect us too bad, It's kind of,
for sure.
Yeah. So since we talked, can you give us the cliff notes of what has happened with your projects? And you just released your film as well. So talk a little bit about it. Yes.
Congratulations. By the way.
So
great achievement.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
Cheers. Thank you. So we did the Midnight Perturbation. Which for me is a very kind of like small kind of like film, but it's doing really well. We got it on Blu-ray as well now, and it's selling copies, and I'm really hoping we can build like an audience and momentum to kind of keep pushing for number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2, the budget is not huge, but it's bigger than what we had for number 1. But in the meantime, we're doing another film. We had rehearsals today for a feature film that is not horror. It's quite personal for me. Like, it's something that I kind of writ when I got made redundant, like in 2020, for my job. And I'm not saying I would do these things, by the way, because it's quite brutal what happens in the film. But it stemmed from that, those emotions, those feelings. And now we're filming it, and we had the first day of shooting on Sunday, 22nd of September. So yeah, it's super quick. Like, it's happened so fast.
Yeah.
So we kind of all just like, I say all, it's like me and the actors, are kind of just like, gearing ourselves for what's going about to happen. Great rehearsal today. Chemistry was amazing. 80% of the film is set in a car, so that kind of helps it, and it kind of doesn't help it as well. But it's different from anybody who's listened to, watch what I do and thinks this is what my style is. They're going to be very disappointed or whatever when they see this film. But it's a cool movie. It's very like a drama kind of thriller with horrific events that happen in between. So it's
Are you able to give like a log line up for what this film is about? So what is the log line?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a log line. I'm still kind of writing it for so yesterday I literally writ like a rough synopsis for casting calls for a couple of characters. But basically, it's about a guy called Kareem who kind of he loses his job. His dad passes away. He can't afford to pay for his mum in her home care. He loses custody of his child. So basically everything is kind of falling against him, and he kind of snaps. He kind of like has a moment where he's like, okay, you know what? I'm done being the nice person in life. Let me be bad a little bit, or whatever bad is. And then he meets some friends, and he gets some advice from them, and he basically kidnaps his manager's daughter, and says, by the time I stop this car, if you don't pay me this amount of money, I will kill her. And the film is set on primarily on that journey between the two, and as the journey kind of progresses, there's a kind of Stockholm syndrome that is developed between the two characters, and how and towards the end it kind of goes a bit mental, but that's kind of the idea. He kind of puts his life in his own hands in a very brutal way, and it descends into madness.
That's cool. How many days are you guys shooting for?
So everything in the car is going to be 5 days, sorry.
Okay.
And then everything else is another 5 to 6 days, so about 12 days shooting.
Nice. Okay.
So everything's going to happen fast, essentially.
Very fast. Even for me, like, I'm still, even today when we were rehearsing, so I shot the scenes we're going to do on Sunday. So obviously I love to storyboard, because when I it's like when you write down notes, it stays in your brain. So
I'm a storyboarder too.
Yeah, love to write stuff down and just be like, okay, cool, this is what it's going to be. So today we kind of did that with the rehearsals of the whole film, but then the scenes for Sunday we kind of storyboarded, and I had the camera with me, so I was like, okay, let me just kind of roughly see how it's going to look. So it's going to be fun. Like, once the car stuff is done, I'll be more relaxed, because the other stuff is very easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's
more straightforward.
A lot more, more straightforward, more like manageable. Yeah. Whereas with the car stuff, in my head, I'm like, there's so much stuff that could go wrong, and I'm not an anxious person, but I like to have things in order.
Sure. Yes.
And in those situations, you don't know, because obviously it's health and safety, because someone's driving and acting at the same time, and you're in a car with them when they're doing that. Plus, there's other stuff as well that could go wrong. The police could be like, it could be the police officer who's like, you know what, I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna fuck your shit up and just ruin the whole film. So it really depends. But I think we'll be okay. I think we're in good company, and I think we'll be okay.
So how are you doing the? Sorry, I want to get technical because all this is interesting to me. So
Yeah.
how are you doing the car stuff? Are you shutting down streets? Are you? No. Okay.
No, it's everything that is super intense. The car is stationary, so everything
Okay,
where
great,
there is great. When there is interaction with the characters, everything is stationary.
Great.
When things are moving, then we will have a car rig. And again, it's not Hollywood, so it's not like stuck on a proper car rig. It's like suction cups and that kind of
Gotcha.
like car
Yeah,
rig.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a few permits for a few locations and a few green screen situations as well, and kind of like this mixing everything all together.
Yeah.
It falls into place. I mean, when we did Midnight, it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
This is
Are you shooting it? Because didn't you shoot Midnight too?
Yeah, I'm shooting this one as well. Yeah.
Sick.
So
Okay.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Like we got some really beautiful like visual ideas. And the story is raw. It's very brutal. It's very like I don't want to say like it's like a gangster film, but it kind of like it. That's where it stems from. Like it's about a guy who was clean the whole of his life, and then he was
who did it right.
Yeah. Like he could have gone one way, but he went another way.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he loses his job, he feels like violated, and he's like, you know what? Like I want revenge. And then this is his way of doing
revenge on society, basically.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. We had a rehearsal today, and it was really intense.
Are you a rehearsal person in general? Like, do you love I love rehearsing, so I don't. Are you like a lot of pre-rehearsals leading up to it? Because I feel like that's the only way to be able to do something in 11, 12 days is rehearsal.
Yeah. If it was actors who I didn't know, I would have probably wanted more rehearsals. But because I know them. Yeah, I've known like Emily and Abiyomi for like 3 years, 4 years, more probably. I know how they are as actors, so I wrote those roles for them. Like, for example, if Abiyomi or Emily was like, I don't want to do this film probably wouldn't have been. I probably would be like, okay, cool. Well, it'd been a back burner. Like, I'm not going to make this film.
Oh wow, yeah,
because it was written for these two people,
right?
And a little fact as well is like this film I was going to do before Midnight Perturbation. I couldn't because I didn't feel confident to do it. Like, last year, and because of permits and I don't know, it's lots of legal stuff, and I was like, I can't focus on this right now. I just want to make a film. So then we was like, okay, let's do Midnight Perturbation. Whereas now, obviously, we have to do this film now. So I feel more now confident to do it, and the equipment we got is great, and I feel like a bit like a UFC fighter who's like, yeah, it's my second title shot, man. Yeah, I'm really
This is your sophomore fight. Yeah. Well, and you said that this was you might. I don't know if I misheard you in the beginning, but did you say it's like a slight deviation from what you did on Midnight than what you are doing like now in terms of like shooting it? Like it's just like atmospherically and creatively, it's just
style,
very different. The style,
yeah. I mean, it's obviously Midnight is horror,
right?
This is not horror, so it's
like
for me,
a
it's
thriller.
very different because I've always thriller kind of drama.
Okay.
I mean, the ending is quite horrific. Like, I think some people will be like, what the fuck was going on?
That's awesome.
What is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very so shooting it is gonna be a completely different way of thinking. 110%. And when you film horror, it's different. You film it for the excitement and the visuals and the whole visual aspects. Whereas this film is a bit more like on the emotional side.
Yeah.
We feel like even when we was rehearsing today, it's really hard to rehearse and direct because you just want to sit down and watch people perform because you know what's happening and you just want to watch the acting,
And you forgot you have a job as well, Yeah.
110%. I think I'd probably like realize this today is like you kind of with horror, it's like, there's emotional sometimes, but it's more about, okay, how do we make people be scared? And that's not necessarily down to the actors. It can be a whole lot of
camera tricks. It can be there's a lot of things that can contribute to that versus just performance.
110%. Yeah,
that's very interesting.
with this one, it is down to the actors and their connection and their chemistry and how they react off of each other, and they're the perfect chemistry. Like, it's like they're. I'm very blessed to know Ebiomi and Emily, so it's very cool to see. Yeah, today was amazing. They both left to go, okay, Sunday, I'm ready. And I was like, good, because I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. How is permitting? Is it pretty easy in London or no?
To be fair, I think it's like anywhere else. Like, I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and someone done a film there, and I was talking to her about permitting as well. It's very similar, except I don't know. So when we did Midnight, I kind of got along really well with the council who done the permits for Midnight Perturbation in a place called Southend-on-Sea. And I will use those guys again, because where I live, they're very I'm very vocal about it. Like I live in a borough called Waltham Forest. They're really shit with giving permits, and I'm quite publicly tell you this as well. They're very like bad with, like, because we were filming during the summertime, and it's like, okay, we can't film. I said to her, I need to film at nighttime. It's like, okay, yeah, we don't offer permits at 6 p.m. onwards. Okay, yeah, well, that's still daylight. I need to film at nighttime. And there was like, they basically we had no help. Yeah. So, but then I went to Southend, and then the people there were super cool, super nice. So we drove like an extra hour to do scenes. But the people there were super cool, really friendly, helped us a lot. They offered extras on the side. I won't, go into detail, but it's not that hard. It's just, it's money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
What's typical? Sorry, this is all like from a producer. I'm like, what's it like cost-wise for permits in London? I'm also thinking, like, how do I shoot?
No, so for example, it's I'll say approximately maybe £80 or £90 per hour.
Oh, that's a lot less than it is here in Los Angeles. I know there's the conversion factor, but it's still a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, this is for like Walthamstow, so I guarantee, I'm sure if you went to like central London.
Yeah.
So London is broken down into zones. So I think where I live is zone 3, maybe. And then you have zone 2, then you have zone 1, which is like central. So that was like £80 per hour. No. Southend, which is not even in London, that was like £75 per hour. I think.
Oh, per hour. Okay, by the hour, not per day.
Yeah, per hour. Yeah. And then so here where I am now is I was wrong. Yeah, so where we filmed for Midnight was 75 per
hour.
Right.
Okay, that's not as cheap as I thought. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive. Yeah, that's pricey.
Yeah, never mind. That's actually really spicy. Yeah. I'm like, oh, for some reason I just thought that was like for a day. I don't know why I thought that.
I thought it was for a day as well. I'm like, damn, that's actually like it's like less than a day
hour.
rate.
I was like, oh shit, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To fund your film here that's why everyone goes to America and other places to fund it, because it's just stupid money.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but LA, like at least
LA is probably is
stupid,
horrible.
Yeah, LA's dumb, and they publicly have said that they don't care about small productions. That's why they keep raising permits. Yeah, they literally don't give a shit about small productions.
Really?
And yeah, they don't. And it's crazy because it's like, okay, well, people complain that they have to go to other cities to work because it's so expensive to film here. That's why everything is going out to work.
Right.
I don't know. I have many thoughts on this, but that's cool. So, and you own all the equipment already, so that's except the suction cups, but maybe you own that now too.
Tomorrow, yes.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yes.
Right from Amazon. It's like,
yeah. And so I guess your budget is on permits and food, right? And some rates.
Permits, food. The main actors will be paid something once the film is done.
Right.
there's a lot of other actors before, because a lot of characters that they meet in between the journey that makes them go, okay, you know what, I want to go down this brutal path of, you know, kidnapping someone's daughter. Like, there's a few he meets along the way that makes him. They are all kind of pretty much expenses, to be fair. People who are paid is not like, you know, a crazy amount. And then yeah, so the permits, the actors, and obviously prosthetics and stuff. There's not so much, but I don't want to say, if anyone is watching who's going to come to the screen, like, I don't want to say that it's going to ruin the experience. So there is some SFX involved for one of the characters. So that, as you guys probably know, that costs money as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And apart from that is
Not bad. So in general, in general, what is the budget difference between this film and the one that you had for Midnight? Prohibition. Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be exactly the same. To be fair,
Yes.
Midnight we paid like $5,000 roughly to do, but that's including everything. So including the film and the marketing and the Blu-rays and stuff like this. Like, that all came from that budget, which I think is actually less. It's not actually $5,000. I think it's more like $3,000 or $4,000. I need to check.
That is like nothing. That's literally not much, not at all. And to clarify, you self-distributed, right, for Rennie, and so okay.
It was really cool because we had two really decent like distribution offers for horror. I was like, really? And when I had the meeting with them, for me, marketing is very important.
Yes,
like, if
agreed.
Don't know your film, there's no fucking point. Like,
yes, agreed.
But they don't know, there's no point at all, because at the end of the day, you want to sell your stuff to an audience and build an audience so that when you do your third or your fourth or whatever, you have an audience to kind of, follow you, follow your journey. And everybody that offered us something, or offered me something, could not give an answer for marketing. It's so weird. Everybody was like, "Hey, $10,000 for distribution fees." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then there was like, "Okay," and we had the film for 7 years, I think it was. I was like, "Okay, cool," which was not cool for me because I know we're doing Midnight 2 next year. So I was like, that I don't know how that's gonna work. Because I know if someone does take Midnight 2, they'll probably want the first one as well.
Right.
And then it was like, so everybody was like, "Hey, what do you do for marketing then?" Everybody's literally, I don't know if it's like they copy and paste the same bullshit sheet, but it was basically the first response is always, "Oh yeah, if you want to something along the lines of if you want to do, submit for reviews, you're more than welcome." I was like, "Okay, cool." Then reply. Okay, but what is your marketing plan for your film?
What's your strategy? Right.
Yeah, I've not seen you guys do like horror before, or I'm not seeing your films like not do well, but I'm not seeing your films like, do anything. So
out there,
what is your
thing?
Yeah. Again, if you want to do podcasts, you're more than welcome. And again, what is your strategy? No one can
strategy.
Tell me
right. You were smart to ask that. I know, man.
Yeah, what is your paperwork for what do you do? Because I understand that, you could be a great distributor. And let's be honest, no one really goes to cinema anymore. It's all on Instagram, all on Netflix.
Streaming,
Amazon, streaming, I was like, okay, so what do you do that I can't, like, I hate social media, but I was like, what do you do that if I don't take like an hour out of my day to do, what can I not do that you will do that charges $10,000? No one
can't give you a straight answer.
So I was like,
that's crazy.
Right. Exactly. So I was like, okay, dude, I'll do it myself and see what happens.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Where it left it. Yeah.
Damn.
Seems to be a pretty consistent case for traditional distributors for sure. So that's also why, like I was telling you, I was able to, luckily, was even able to just, I asked them, like, what's the trajectory for international release? And I got this like very honest answer, but it was basically on the lines of like, oh, it's really hard right now, and like international distributors aren't really paying for stuff, which is inconsistency to other people's what they've told me about it. And so so we're not, so it's just gonna be hard. So I was like, okay, well, can I get those rights back? And so I was able to. So I'm very grateful for that, that I was able to get the international rights back. But it also makes me wonder, like,
why the fuck do you
I should have
exist?
just self-distributed. Yeah, I just should have just self-distributed this the whole time. So, which I had talked to other filmmakers like Jim Cummings from and Ben Wiseman from Vanishing Angle. They did Thunder Road and had so they are very much adamant about self-distribution. So it's very interesting to hear you go through this route and having success with it. So so are you so how has it just been, like, are you going to get it onto, are you doing it through like Film Hub, or like how are you getting it onto like the streaming stuff?
To be honest with you, I've not thought about streaming yet. Like, we're still selling DVDs. Like, every day we have an order come through. So for me, I was
That's
like,
pretty cool.
Not a DVD, so Blu-ray. So I'm like, it's cool because that's what I want. Like, I love to buy films on Blu-ray, especially films that I like. Anyway, not everything.
God,
some are very
I
minimalistic.
love buying
So,
physical
like,
media too. Yeah, there's something about like the box art. Yeah, it's great.
Is that still more like a European thing? Like, has streaming just been more of a US thing, and we're just so in it? We just think everybody does it, or
no? Everybody does streaming now. So I think a lot of people don't really care. I think streaming is like, for me, streaming is like something in the background. You're not putting effort into it. It's just there.
It's convenient. Yeah. It's like
when
YouTube.
You actually buy something, you don't really care about it. Like, it's something you put in the background. It's something you just put on. Like, even for me with Spotify or whatever, like, I listen to it, but it's like if I had the actual CD, I would.
Right, I'm intentionally. It's more with intention.
Listening to, as opposed to just listening to, clicking a band on Spotify. Like, oh, I don't mind listening to this song. Let me play this song. When you actually stick in a CD or a vinyl, you're there for the moment. And I think streaming for me is a way for, but it's a generation thing as well, because I think people who are the younger people today, they just want everything now, and they just want everything. I don't know. They don't have that connection that I think people born in the 80s had. And I say I don't care if people hate me, but I think that's the way it is. Like, I really do. I really do think that's the way it is. Like, I think now things are super, like, even if, like, a few of my friends who are a few years younger than me,
Gen Z.
even like with dating and stuff, like, everyone's on apps and stuff, which is cool. But this is the way it is now. But back in the day, it was different. There's connection. It was about going and taking that risk and sucking up that moment. Whereas now it's just super. Everything is like accessible. And and for me, when things are super accessible, you don't really care because it's just there. It's like a back.
You're right.
It's on the back burner. It's like an afterthought. It's always gonna be there. So why?
It's always there. So why should I try it with? Why should I give more intention to it? Because I know it's always there. I don't have to put in much effort.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas when something is only there for a moment, you're more like, you know what? I'm probably not going to see this again. So let me be here, like,
intentional. Let me be in the moment. Let me go and experience this. No, I like that.
Exactly. And that's kind of, so at the moment, everything is Blu-ray. I will go to streaming eventually, but I'm, people are buying it, and it's cool to have people message and watch the film and say, this was cool, but or whatever. And so that's cool, man. But I'm glad you paid like 16 quid to, by the film.
Yeah, that's
like,
somebody said something. It says heart from the whole family. So I think somebody on your end said they love you. Who's DWINDR? Is that your friend?
Cool. Yeah, he's a really close friend of mine.
Yay!
Yeah, love you too, bro.
That's
love you too, dude.
Yes.
But that's awesome though that you invested into the Blu-ray physical media aspect of it, because like, it's the same thing here. It's just like streaming is just convenient. There's a convenient element to it, but like the lost art that I feel that was kind of gone with physical media is behind the scenes, like all the special features stuff.
Yeah.
And I always feel like, I mean, yeah, sure, you see that with social media, but I don't see that with many filmmakers. I see it with Christine. I even see it in your page too, Andre. Whenever I see you like post
cool.
stuff with Midnight, I always get stoked when I see stuff like that, like any BTS. I'm like, oh, dude, this is awesome. This is rad. I love seeing everyone's
awesome.
craft.
Cool.
I like stalking crafts and stuff, you know, which is why like even
Process.
growing up, even growing up, like I was that nerd who would watch the or listen to the commentary of that film and then watch the film again to point out all of the consistencies with the commentary and go back to the BTS. I would wring the shit out of my DVDs with all the special features and shit like that. It's there's like a lost art to it, you know? And we've had like this major electronics store called Best Buy like completely discontinue all of the DVDs, which is bullshit because they have all of
when?
Oh, since the beginning of this year. Yeah, it's kind of it's a bummer because like that's the whole reason why I would walk into those like Best Buys is to explore the box art and the DVDs and like all the exclusives and stuff like that. It's great. And now it's like well, go follow go watch it on Netflix or Hulu and you know, fuck off, essentially.
110%. Yeah, no, exactly. Which I think is wrong. Like even for me, like I used to love watching the behind the scenes on Blu-rays. Like I got loads of Blu-rays and DVDs. And that's what I love to watch. I love to watch how they made it. You know, I think for me, like I was born in '86, so for me, when I watch films like I'm trying to think of a film. Yeah, so The Matrix, when it released on Blu-ray, I remember watching that movie and watching the Blu-ray and watching. Literally, I watched the film. Every time I watched the movie, I'd watch the special features as well.
Yeah,
like, it was an event. It was an event for me. Like I watched the Blu-ray and then I watched how the Wachowski brothers did the actual movie. Like it was a proper like event when I decided to put that into my evening. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm done for the night. Like I've watched everything, and it's a very personal like. Because you can't get the behind the scenes anywhere else. You can watch it on YouTube where you get ads and then you get like, you know, it's not even the actual flipping thing.
And so you can't get everything.
When you have the Blu-ray, you actually there.
Yeah. And you can't get everything because it's all copyrighted. So they can't really post a lot of their stuff because it's like from Warner Brothers or from Disney or anything like that. But on the physical media, it's all there. You know, it's the best. Especially the commentary. You can't find that on YouTube, you know?
No.
So yeah, props to you, Andre.
It's the same with film soundtracks. Oh, cheers, man. Thank you. Yeah, like it for me, that's what I always grew up loving. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do films, then I should probably do something. That was very important for me when I was growing up with filmmaking. Like streaming wasn't around when I was obviously growing up. So when, buying Blu-rays and owning something and watching it on my own player, you know, it was mine. It was my film. You know,
that's mind-blowing.
So that's what I kind of bring back.
And I think there's a resurgence in the importance of Blu-rays and DVDs because some people are realizing that. Yes, because I've heard that. I had this discussion with my roommates. That people are realizing that when they purchase a film and it's in their queue, it can actually get taken away. Like you don't, it's not permanent. Like if they discontinue their contract or whatever it is, that piece of media that you have in your queue goes away. So people are discovering that
that's
now.
happened to me a few times. Yeah. Sorry, I got one. Sorry, I was just so embarrassing. I have another parcel, and I'm sure it's for the film as well. Yeah. It's literally just arrived. Are you back in? Back in 2 seconds.
This is behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
Go ahead.
Behind the scenes, this is what happens. He's preparing for his film, and he was waiting for equipment. So that's exciting.
Okay, apologies.
You're good.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. So Andre is receiving lenses or pieces of equipment for his shoot on Monday. I think it starts on Monday, right?
Yeah. This is guerrilla filmmaking, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this is indie filmmaking at least.
Indie. to get
did not
that.
know that there's now a research that makes me happy. I love hearing
A
that.
little bit, because people are realizing like, oh wait, I don't really own my films. They can literally
No.
take them away. Like if a contract expires or whatever, that movie leaves your queue, even though you bought it. So
Well,
people have realized this, and so now they're trying to get more DVDs and physical media instead.
I mean, they do that even for HBO. I realize, like, one of my favorite shows never got a physical media release. It's a show called Raised by Wolves. It's a Ridley Scott show, guy who made Alien, and all that.
Yes.
He made this show.
Was it good? I haven't seen it.
Phenomenal. It's like it's a great sci-fi show. It's a great little sci-fi show. It's like 2 seasons, I think. Yeah, it's like 2. It's been a while since I got to rewatch it, but no physical media release, and it's taken off of HBO. It's not available anywhere. You can't watch it.
No.
Fucking
Can't see it anywhere, right?
No, and so you're screwed. You don't have any choice but to just not have the show exist.
That movie, yeah. Adam's talking about Ridley Scott released something called Raised by Wolves, and it was on HBO, but there was no physical media that was ever released, and so now it's taken off because it was like their contract expired, but like because there's no physical media, nobody can watch it.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's a trend now with streaming. You know, it's kind of it's honestly like one of the worst aspects of streaming. Like y'all said, is that like you don't physically own it. You can't hold on to it. So you know, if it's gone, it's gone. Like, you know, if you want to get into binging a show, there's a chance it might get removed. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah, it's so true. Cause it happens to me with a few like even it happens with music all the time. Like when I've because I don't buy streaming anymore with music, but before I used to, and a few times where I buy an album, and then they change their label or something like this after a while, after a couple of years, and then if the label doesn't, obviously they change so the rights have changed. So when a band changes their label, the whole rights change. So usually a label will pass on the rights to the band for Amazon, Spotify, so they can keep the numbers up. But sometimes it doesn't actually happen. And I remember I bought a few albums where, the label had changed, and I was like, okay, go. The label must have said, obviously, I want this to be my own,
right?
I don't know, the label's property, whatever. And then, so what I bought was removed from Amazon, and then put back up on Amazon. I was like, but I bought this album. And there's one album in particular, I emailed them and said, but I bought this. And they said to me, well, it's a new label, so you can't, so it's a different code, it's a different, I was like, but I paid $10.99 for the album.
This. Yeah.
2 years ago. I was like, okay, we'll pay $10.99 again. I was like, well, no, fuck that. Like, it's, it's really,
that's messed up.
I think streaming is good because it's very accessible, but I also think that it does cater to this whole world we're living in, where everything is super accessible. It's super like, and I think you know, it's a catch-22 because I'm a musician as well, and I love the fact that people can just like play my music and just listen to it. I also obviously not make, even though we have, I have made some money from Spotify and iTunes, sorry. Not a lot. Like when I think about the streams, things don't really correlate. But then I saw Snoop Dogg did something where he was saying the same thing, and I was like, well, Snoop Dogg's got problems, and I'm not gonna fucking say. I was like, hey, I'm done. But I was like, okay, cool. Something doesn't really work, but it pays for the annual subscription or whatever. But I do feel there is like a missing link. I feel for me, streaming just feels weird.
Yeah.
The fact that someone worked so hard to create something, and it's on a platform where anyone in the world can watch it for free, that doesn't really sit really well with me. And I know that this is the way the world we live in. But for my films and my content, I do feel like I don't know, like everyone works hard, like not just me, but the actors, Even the guy who runs to the pizza place to get pizza for everybody, like he works hard. Like how was people just
Right.
watching
Yeah.
on the back burner when they're ironing their clothes? Let me just look on Netflix to see what's on TV. Like, no, man, you should appreciate my stuff. You
Yeah, no, it's training the society to value art very, very differently.
Yeah.
Which means not valuing it at all.
Exactly.
And it's making it seem like it's easy to make art. And yeah, to an extent, yes, anybody can pick up. But the thing is that when you get to a certain level of content, it takes time, it takes money, it takes skills developed over many years, and streaming doesn't account for any of that. And it definitely doesn't build that expectation in your audience because, like you said, accessibility. That's very, 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 very true.
And I think because of that, like for me, a lot of things on Netflix for me look the same. Like the cinematography looks exactly this. I cannot tell. Like even the film, I like The Killer, for example. David, I can't remember. So that maybe
David Fincher.
David Fincher, right? Yeah. Like I hated that film, and I
really
I watched it. Yeah, and I was like, this looks like everything else. It's not David Fincher anymore. Like even with me, Ridley Scott. I love Ridley Scott. Okay, and for me, like everything he does now is just super. I don't know. Like I feel like there's been like a I don't know, like some kind of switch that people have like switched on. I don't know what it is, but for me, the level has gone down to the point where the cameras that we have now are super accessible and they're super easy to use. Okay, so anyone, even my I don't have any grandparents anymore, but even my grandma could use the camera and make something look good. Like, but back in the day, when you think of like El Mariachi, whatever, like when they make that film for like $7 grand, that's talent. That standing film, how things work, For me, it's I don't know. I feel everything is the same because no one has the knowledge of how to make film and no one has the knowledge of the business. Not saying I do, but I feel there's been a huge shift with what is accepted for creativity at the moment. Even I saw Alien Romulus and I hated. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. I saw it.
You didn't like Alien? Alien Romulus?
Have you seen it?
I have. Yeah,
I haven't seen it. Okay. Oh, you guys can know. I don't mind spoilers. Go ahead. Yes.
Well, sure? I think there's a little bit of credence to what you're saying. It does. You're saying it kind of feels like it plateaued. Like it's just the same thing, kind of like across the board, right? With now the streaming filmmaking.
Yeah, like I feel very just like everything is just kind of for me just looks the same. Like I can't remember the last film I saw that was made in the past 2 years that really made me go, wow. Like nothing that I feel like for me the technology has allowed people to bypass certain ladders that people back in the day had to go through to be a cinematographer or a DOP. I feel like it's allowed people. I mean, even look at YouTube, and I was like, there's so many people who have YouTube channels teaching people how to DOP.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and they're all talking bullshit. Like I'm so like they're all just like there's so many people talking so much stuff that me just kind of I really feel that that there has to be some kind of line. But I also think like we remember with Alien Romulus, like I love Fede Alvarez. I think he's an amazing director. Yeah, and I love Ridley Scott. Like, I think he's dropped the ball a little bit in his few of his movies. It's not him. I think the studio or something like this. I don't know. But I just feel
movie by committee.
Right.
Yeah, I feel there is something there that is kind of just I don't know that as you said, the craft, the artwork, the actual putting I don't know effort into what is a story I want to tell. What is how do I want people to feel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you get making an alien movie. I get that, but the moment you give a backbone to what scares people, takes away the fear. For me, when I watched Alien as a kid, it was like, okay, when you're a kid, you're like, oh wow, like, you know, there's humans, and I know humans because I am one, and we're all together on planet Earth. What is out there? You know, what is there?
Yeah.
And when you see aliens, they don't tell you what it is.
No.
It's just there. It's like a fear mechanism, you know, like a fear campaign. And then when you get to like Prometheus and they explain that they're, you know, mechanical weapons, whatever, for me that takes the fear away, and I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah.
You know? It's playing on the psychological that what you create in your mind is is always going to be worse than what is actually there in reality. That's why Jaws was so successful, was playing on the
exactly.
Yeah, instead of spoon feeding, it's trusting that the audience is smart enough that they have their own imagination, and that you don't know how everybody interprets information. So the way they are going to interpret something is always going to be way worse than what you physically can create for them on the screen. So playing on that aspect.
So how do you, I mean, how do y'all think that came to be then? Does it feel like the audience now, I mean, because the audience isn't stupid. I mean, we're the audience, right? Like we're the filmmakers, we're the audience. Like, you're right. It does take away the magic of the mystery, right? Like that's why Michael Myers is terrifying, because he's the evil. He's like evil incarnate. Like he's just a living embodiment of evil. But once you start having a backstory and you start having ideas and reasoning with all that, you just sort of like strip all that away. Just like you were talking about with Alien. It's like the vastness of spaces. There's so much shit out there. The imagination is powerful, and it can override any of that. And the mystery is what kind of brings the attention to it. So, like, why do you think that is? Is it because like audiences need clarity? You know, like do they need like some sort of like they need to have their hands held all times when they're watching a movie?
I have an idea why things have changed. I think it's because filmmakers and creatives have less autonomy these days, because they are beholden to whatever the studios or whoever is supplying the money and resources. And unfortunately, the people who are the money people are often not the creatives or don't have backgrounds in creativity. These are people who like certainty, who deal in black and white. They don't live in the gray. Yeah. They believe in if X goes in, Y comes out, which is not how creativity works. And so to them, to them, they want to see, and a lot of the decisions are being influenced by what Ava DuVernay says, film by committee. And she talks a lot about this in this other interview with, I think, Guy Raz, about how that wasn't her film. Even though she directed it, it wasn't, because all of her decisions were basically filtered through a higher power. And that's what happens when you don't give somebody autonomy and let them do what they do best. It's going to go through layers of filters until it becomes unrecognizable, right? That person's voice no longer can be heard because it's gone through 50 other people's voices. And I've seen this from a small scale doing commercial work for clients. The client will say, hey, I want to do something different. I'm like, great. And I give them something different. And then it goes through 10 people. And by the time it gets to me, it looks exactly the same as what they said they didn't want it to look like. Like, I worked for Nike, and I was like, if you wanted to do exactly the same as what you had previously, it would have been a lot faster if you just told me that, and I could have just gotten to that. But you said you wanted something different, so I gave you something different, and now you've edited it 50 times where it literally looks exactly the same as what you said you didn't want it to look like. So it is that. And unfortunately, until creatives, and I think there will be a shift, and the shift is because of filmmakers just realizing they don't have any control over their distribution if they go through distributors, and they take control of the funding aspect by taking control of how they distribute the film, so that they now become the sole decision makers and the money makers, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. That is when you start to see again the true original ideas. So I think that process is happening right now. It's a scary ass process, because to make a film, you do need resources. You do need money. And unless you can be scrappy and figure out how to make a movie for $3,000, like Andre, like there's a way that we're taught through everything. If it's not by you, it's by your crew, expecting, hey, I should be paid, and they should be. We all want to make a living as creatives, but it takes a certain amount of faith and belief from your crew to be like, okay, I'm going to take a pay cut because I believe in this project. Instead, I'm going to take, I don't know, there was another film, Sing Sing did this. It was a film about the Shakespeare program, kind of like Shakespeare on the Range. I have a film, but Shakespeare program amongst inmates. But Sing Sing, they did a co-ownership. So all of the crew got percent ownership of the film. They took pay cuts, but in exchange, they became owners of the film. And this was in order to work under a slightly smaller budget independently. And maybe that's where we're going. But I think it's where, when creatives have learned to not have to rely on the money people, which is by taking control of distribution, that is when we will start to see more, less filtered, less watered down content, because it's truly 100% from the voice of the creator. But until then, it's film by committee. And that's why things are not feeling as intense or feeling. I'm reading the book by, there's a really good book, Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, which is documenting the process of George Miller making Fury Road and everything. And that was one of the big things he said. He said that they really wanted to, from the second Mad Max original, not the Fury Road or anything, they wanted to create back then a series. But in order to do that, literally the studio folks said, edit out all of the intensity, because we can't have that on, TV and stuff like that, which defeats the purpose. That's what I'm saying. That is where you're feeling that like disconnect and that watered down version is because you're in business school. They say, if you make something to please everyone, you please no one, because you're watering it down.
Right.
And it's impossible.
It's impossible to please everyone.
Yeah.
So sorry, I went on a little soapbox there, but like that is how I believe.
Yeah.
That's how I believe it will change, is when filmmakers like you, Andre, who take control of the distribution process, and you don't owe anything to anyone, so you can do however you can release it, however you want it to be, right? And that is the most raw version of that art. So
yes, yeah.
So I'm excited.
That's really, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a great way of explaining it. Like, it was really cool. Like, I completely agree. I think that, and the thing is, with self-distribution, I understand, because I know I have friends who are like, no, man, I'm a cinematographer. I'm not a businessman, or I'm a director. I'm not a businessman. It's like, those days are unfortunately over. Like, you have to be everything if you want to do anything.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you can't just be one thing. You have to take care of all your shit. Like,
you have to do
it's impossible. It's impossible to do just one thing. You know.
Yeah.
And as I said before,
I was gonna say, basically, when there was accessibility, when things became accessible, that's when everybody had to be everything. because it's too accessible.
Yeah.
Everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
So in order to stand out, you have to do everything. Yeah. Remember there was a time when it was a big no-no to like, you can't direct and shoot your film. Like that was a big faux pas.
Right.
And to a point that Soderbergh had to take a different pen name as a cinematographer because he shoots his own stuff. So a lot of his stuff, there's a cinematographer that has a completely different, but it's him. So, but now it's like everybody's a multi-hyphenate because that's the only way to get shit done the way that you want it to be. So,
it's difficult. And even for me, like I learned on a short film we did a few I don't know, during the summertime. Which feels like a long time ago, but it's actually not. Even for me, like I struggle to tell people what I want. Like when because I have everything in my head, so I just know what I was like. Just do it. I struggle to tell people kind of what I want, especially if they don't come from a similar background from me. As in, if they don't have a similar like influence, like background, like if they're not influenced by the same movies as me, like I can't reference the film, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Cool." Like if it's someone different, like it's very hard to tell someone what you want. Well, I struggle to do that, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm a cinematographer as well, so I may as well just do it myself.
Right, it's easier to be like, oh, well, I'm gonna frame it. This is how I see it in my head, because a lot of things. I think as somebody who also shoots her own stuff, sometimes you find your frame right in the moment, so it's not even not knowing what you want, it's like you don't know what you want a lot I and so you have to go through that creative processing to be like, all right, I'm finding this is it, this is what was all I always wanted. No, you just figured it out right there, but like you need to go through that process to find it. So
110%.
No, I find so much creativity. I don't know, I bet you do too, but I get so much this other entire layer of creativity simply by shooting my stuff myself. That I otherwise wouldn't have had before.
Like I've put my hand on my soul now and said I will always do my own films from now on until I can afford someone who inspires me. I think I will always do my own cinematography. Like I'm done being like, okay, let me bring this person on. It's like, no, like I have an idea in my head. I don't care if I I don't care if I lose weight or if I get sick. Like I'm gonna film it because for me, like I know what I want and I've seen what happens when I don't get what I want. It's not my film. Like I have a very specific vision. So it's like when some other people try and do what I kind of do, for me, I watch it and I'm like, I don't know, this is not what I want. So for me, from now on, like I've said, like I'm gonna film everything I do until I can afford someone who I'm like, this person really inspires me, or this person gets what I naturally, without forcing anything, we have that connection, or someone that I generally, aspire to be like or inspires me. Then I'll be like, okay, cool. Look, Sarah, do you want to? I would love for you to DOP, and she's like, yeah, cool. Or David or whatever, like, cool. They're part of it, but for now I'm like, I'm just gonna do everything because it's easier and it saves time and money. So
time and money, I get that. I'm on the same boat right now too. Since doing that last feature, that's what I learned a lot. I don't know. It's just like what I learned about, like, oh, this is what happens when you're not aligned. You're just not. It creates more problems than anything. And the thing is, if you're going to spend that kind of money, you want to get what you want. And a lot of times you just don't. You don't. It's the reality of it. And I know a lot of my friends love them to death and their union, everything, and doing a great job, and hope they continue to succeed. But the reality is, I think every single crew member should produce something once in their life. Because only when you've been in that position do you realize, especially as an independent filmmaker, what you're up against. And it sucks because a lot of people haven't been in those shoes. So I think the default answer is, well, you should have raised more money. But the thing is, sometimes you can't because you are at the moment a nobody. At the moment you're not a name or whatever. And this is what you have to work with. So I think there's creativity in being able to work within the constraints of what you have, and you just got to find the right team that believes in that
Yeah.
with you as well. So
110%. I'm very grateful for who the people that I have to work with. And I always, maybe like a week ago, I was trying to differentiate the difference between being selfish and sacrifice. And I was like, they're kind of the same thing.
Hard. The line
but-
it's gray. It's super gray. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you do, you kind of let go of a few things that people take for granted when you do filmmaking, and you're like, I want to put my soul into doing something. That people, going out, seeing your friend, going out, seeing your mum, you're like, oh, I could see my mum, or I could finish off this script.
Right.
And it's like, so is that selfish or is that sacrifice? So it's it's a selfish sacrifice. That's the one. But no, like But with you guys, I love Ursula. I think it was an amazing film, really cool. You did a really good job. I really enjoyed watching it. And of course, I won't say, but if you need help with the other project,
I really
want to say what it is, because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but just reach out, let me know. And
yes.
things are kind of happening here, so slowly but surely we're getting there. So I'm very happy to help and assist wherever.
I really want to shoot in London. That's why I kept asking you all these random.
Are you sure? Are you sure you want to film in London?
You want to shoot Zone 1 in central London?
Yeah. 200 pounds per hour.
I mean, it seemed like really easy to grill stuff. You guys don't have like just cops everywhere waiting to write you a ticket like there is.
When I went to New York like 2 weeks ago, they were everywhere.
Oh yeah,
they're everywhere in LA too.
They're all over the
I didn't
place.
see it in London. Yeah, I didn't see it in London. And the thing is, like, most people have, but your mom and dads all have GH4s now, like, and A7Ss, like, it ain't no thing. Like, it's because they probably don't know the whole full capabilities of these cameras. But like, I see like just moms and dads walking around with a cinema camera, like just taking their family photos and shit like that. And so it's like too hard to police it. So it's amazing because I was in front of the Parliament in 2022, sitting there, and I knew I was sitting the exact seat that they shot the scene from 007 where they're interchanging like this hard drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if I were to rehearse my actors right in front of the seat for a few days and just have a camera in a backpack, come here, pop it up, boom, boom, I've got the scene, go away, type thing. Because I saw no cops anywhere. At all.
Yeah, the police here are they're a lot more relaxed than when I was in New York. Like, they were on it, like they walk around with shotguns
here
and
too.
shit.
They're all LA, all over. So I mean, that's probably where the city makes their money. So policing poor filmmakers that have already no resources.
And they'll shut that shit down in like minutes too. They have no problem shutting it down. They will definitely. Yeah, they will definitely like kick you off that block immediately. And then sometimes like I'll see the line producer come out and be like, all right, guys, well, thanks for your time today. We're wrapped. It's like, with 5 hours to spare. Cool. And we didn't finish our day. Fuck. Yeah, the cops are pretty brutal. But we are a little over an hour now, and we have got to wrap this up.
Okay.
So Andre, thank you so much again for coming on to this, dude. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
For the listeners, how do people follow your process? Shout out all of the call to action things that you need, like Instagram, website, whatever.
Yeah. So for my personal Instagram, the company Instagram is Velvet Vinyl Films. So head over to Velvet Vinyl Films. You can see all the film stuff we're doing, including the new movie that we're going to be filming next Sunday. We'll start filming next. Actually, no, we'll start filming next Thursday. Sorry. Next Thursday. Fuck. So we start for next Thursday. When the time comes. So yeah, Velvet Vinyl Films. If you like horror, check out Midnight Perturbation. That's the horror thing we got going on. People seem to be digging it now. We're gonna do number 2 very soon. And if you like heavy music, head over to Aeronova. That's my band, and we're doing some really weird, crazy, heavy stuff. So yeah,
I love that, dude.
that's what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you again,
Thank you.
Andre. And you know what it is,
No worries,
ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It's getreelisms.com. Get your books today. Get your books, get your hats, get your tees like these.
Yeah, you look like a stork.
I need to get one. I need to get one.
We
Yes.
we got to send Andre a hat and a t-shirt. It's
I think
stats.
so.
Thank you
Yes.
again, Andre. Congratulations on Midnight. It looks rad. I can I buy it as well? Like, I know it's do you internationally ship?
Yeah, we do. But I can send you a link to the. I think Christine has the link, but I can send you the link to the visual one.
You need to send it to me too.
Oh really? Oh, okay, yeah. I'll send you the link to the Yeah,
I would love to.
yeah.
I would love to
And then
watch it.
if you, but then I want to say as well, if you like the film, so on the Blu-ray you have my first film as well for free. So if you
Wow.
buy the Blu-ray, you also get the first movie as well. And
I've
it's
seen
got lots of
I've
special
seen
features
the
and stuff.
short. I just haven't seen the full on.
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Yeah,
email
I'll send to you. Yeah,
us all of the things plus all of your handles, and we can also retag everything.
Cool.
just to
Yeah.
make sure people get. So
awesome.
Yes.
We'll do.
Yeah, and we tag
Now
you
it's
on
good.
Thank you.
Instagram as well. So we got you. We got you, Andre.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Really
of
nice.
course.
So excited to
Anytime.
hear what's going on, so. All right, guys.
Cool.
All right.
That's
Awesome.
it.
Bye.